Hi, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be doing my January wrap-up. And so in January I read a decent amount of books. I read a total of 7 books and it equaled out to being, I think, 2,454 pages that I read, which I think was great. It was fantastic. There was 1 3-star book and there were, I think, 3 4-star and 3 5-star. So it was a really great reading month for me. But we are going to work from the bottom to the top. This time I'm going to try a different, instead of going chronologically, I'm going to go, so the 3-star and then, okay. Anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. Okay, so the 3-star book that I read this month was 4 Psychos by Christy Cunning. Yes, Christy Cunning. This really surprised me. I went into it not reading the synopsis. I don't know why I do this to myself. So I went into this book thinking that it was going to be a contemporary, like, bully read. Like, she was in college, and I thought, for some reason, this is what I thought. I don't know if that's just, like, the vibe that I got from the cover, or if I literally thought that that's what it was about. I have no idea. So I'm reading this book and all of a sudden it's like the main character is this ghost-like character and she's basically invisible to these 4 guys that she lives in an apartment with or a house with or something. And I was like, what is happening? What is going on? So it was this, like, really strange ghost paranormal romance and a bully romance, and I was not mad about it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was fun. I am going to continue on with the series, but it just, there was something about it that just lacked a little bit. I can't really pinpoint what it was, so it ended up being a 3-star read because I enjoyed it and I'm going to be continuing on. But, I mean, maybe it was a 3.5-star. I did really like it, and I like where it's going, and it's very interesting and intriguing. But I don't think it really hit, like, the 4-star level for me yet. Maybe later books in the series. I'm not sure. But it was really interesting, and I was definitely thrown for a loop. I remember texting my friend in real life who loves romance books, and she's like one of the only people in like real life friends that I can talk to about these spicy books. And I had texted her and I was like, so I started reading this book last night. I thought it was going to be a contemporary bully romance, and it totally isn't. It's a ghost paranormal reverse harem, and I'm not mad about it. So it was interesting. I was definitely intrigued. There's 3 4-star reads that I read, and one of the 4-star reads was Love the One You Hate by R.S. Gray. I love R.S. Gray. She is like a go-to author for me when I am in the mood for some kind of rom-com something. I have read probably 10 or so of her books. I think she's got about 18 or 20. I'm not sure. I have to catch up on her stuff, but I have to be in the mood for a rom-com. And that's what I started off with the year with. That was the first book I read for the month of January and of 2022, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a little bit more angstier than her previous rom-coms, and part of me wanted it to be even angstier. It was an enemies to lovers trope, and the main character, I believe her name is Marin, if I'm not correct. I really need to start writing notes down on these characters. Goals for 2022, start taking notes on these books that I read. So It's an enemies to lovers trope, and Marin, I think this is her name. I will put down here if it's not. She has a really, really crappy past. Her parents died when she, I think, was like 13 or something, and she was put into foster care, and she basically covered for one of her foster siblings who she thought she was really good friends. So anyway, she took the fall, and she has a bad rep for it because now it's on her background check. And so she works at I want to say it's like a nursing home or a senior center or something. And one of the seniors, one of her friends, is visiting, and Marin is doing her work and everything, and this senior, or this grandma-like person, this Betty White type of person, that is what I picture, falls in love with Marin and offers her to work on her estate. And by working on her estate, it means like she's going to be this lady's companion, because this lady is lonely. She's got her grandson, but he's a super busy lawyer, and he only visits, like, he tries to come visit like every weekend, but he gets super busy, and it's just, she's lonely, okay? She's an old woman who, her husband died, her daughter died, and she's left with her grandson, and she's just lonely. She wants companionship. So she hires Marin to be this companion, and she hires her for a boatload of money just to be her companion. And Marin is like blown away by like what is happening. She's confused as to what her job even entails. She doesn't even cash her checks because she's so like confused with everything. Lo and behold, she falls, her and the grandson, I can't remember his name, I think it's like Nick or something, Nicholas maybe, I don't know why Marin and Nicholas is like just coming to my brain. I hope those are the names. So they hate each other, they are like oil and water, and it's great. I wish there was more angst to it though. So I know it's a rom-com, I know that's what R.S. Gray writes, but with like her background, I wish there was more angst. So that's why I gave it 4 stars, even though I know it's a rom-com. So I don't know. It is what it is. I gave it 4 stars. The next 4-star book that I read is Dark Notes by Pam Godwin, and this was my first foray into a student-teacher taboo, and I loved every second of it. It was, oh, I have the book. It was beautiful. It takes place in New Orleans, which I just have a huge fascination of New Orleans. New Orleans is one of my go-to settings when it comes to books. If it's not like taking place in my home state or like Chicago, I want it to take place in New Orleans. I have a weird obsession. So it's about Emerick. Emerick is the piano teacher, and he is, I think, 10 years older than the main character, which her name is, oh my gosh, Ivory. Hello. Her name is Ivory, and I believe he is 10 years older than her. I think he's 27 and she's 17. She is of consenting age, but since he's her teacher, it's taboo, and the age gap at that age is a little taboo as well. But I loved this. It is dark though, so go into this book knowing that it's dark. It has some dark backgrounds. Ivory has not been treated very well by her family since her dad died, and it can get pretty dark. So just know that going into this if you are wanting to read this. But I loved this so much. Ivory, she basically takes care of the bills for her house and her family. She has a, she's not like a scholarship kid to this prestigious music school or art school or whatever, but her dad did sell his business in order to pay for her full 4 years at this high school. And so because of that, her mom like pretty much hates her. Her brother is disgusted with everything. They're not even living paycheck to paycheck because her mother doesn't do anything, and Ivory has to end up figuring out how to keep their house and how to keep living and everything. And it's really sad to know that there are people out there, and I know that there are people out there that this happens to, and it breaks my heart because I could never ever put my kids through that. Anyways, I'm gonna get emotional thinking about this. But anyways, the love story between Emmerich and Ivory is just, it's beautiful, it's emotional, it is dark and amazing, and it's just, oh, I loved it. Loved it. The next 4-star read that I read was A Throne of Ruin by K.F. Breen, and this is book number 2 of this series, so I'm not going to talk too much about it because it is a sequel, and I haven't talked about the first one yet because the first one was a 5-star. Spoiler alert. But I really enjoy this series. I am impatiently waiting for the 3rd book in this series to come out. I think it comes out next week. It comes out sometime in February, and I'm super excited. So that was a 4-star read. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the 5-star reads right now. And one of the 5-star reads that I read was Lord of Darkness by Elizabeth Hoyt. I'm finally getting back into reading the Maiden Lane series, and I loved this one. It was about Godric and Meggs. Meggs has this deep hatred for the Ghost of St. Giles, which, if you've read the Maiden Lane series, the Ghost of St. Giles is this character that is transferred over to other characters. And he or she, I'm not sure if there are any she's that are going to, I don't know, that would be really cool though. The Ghost of St. Giles is weaved through every story within the Maiden Lane series, and it's just great. And so Meggs has this deep hatred for the ghost because she is convinced that the Ghost of St. Giles killed her former lover. And even though the ghost didn't, and she has this need and desire to kill the Ghost of St. Giles. And lo and behold, she finds out that the Ghost of St. Giles is her husband. And so it's a lot of fun, and I really liked it. And I love how the Maiden Lane series is more of like a gothic feel of historical romance, and I feel like we don't get that enough in historical romance. And I can't wait to pick up more Maiden Lane series books. I have them all. This was book number 5, so I have 8 more to go, and I'm going to finish them in 2022. Hold me to it. The next 5-star book that I have is A Devil in Scotland by Suzanne Enoch. I read this in one day, and it was perfection, and I loved it so much. This was my first time reading Suzanne Enoch, and I really enjoyed her writing. I'm glad that I have some more of hers on my shelf because I'm going to be reading more from her soon. So this is about Callum and Rebecca, or Becca. And Callum is basically shunned out of the family. He is basically outcasted out of Scotland. He goes to Kentucky and he starts a new life, basically. He found out that his childhood friend, Becca, was going to be marrying his older brother, Ian, and he was very upset about it because he has feelings for Becca, but he never, you know, flat out said them to her because he was this boy who always got drunk and always was the biggest rake. He just, you know, he wasn't ready to settle down, but when Becca was going to marry his brother, he had a big fit about it, and he said some nasty things about his brother and about what his brother is getting himself into, and so he basically gets banished out of Scotland. And so I think fast track 10 years later, it ends up where his brother died, and he is now the heir to everything that his brother had. So it's basically like this second chance romance, and at the same time there's a mystery in it, and it was so great. I loved this so much. It was so close to being my top read of January, and it took me a while to even figure out what my top read of January was. It was between this and A Ruin of Roses by K.F. Breene. So this is the first book in the, I don't remember what the series is called, but it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it's a dragon shifter romance. And it was perfection. It was beautiful. It was exactly what I needed at a very, very bad time in my life, and it took me away. And I think this is the reason why it is my top read of January. It helped me get through one of the most traumatic things in my life just by letting me escape. And I feel like if I had read A Devil in Scotland at the time that my grandma died, then maybe that would be the top pick for January. But A Ruin of Roses just let me go to this whole different world about dragon shifters, and who thought that I was gonna love shifter romances? I had no idea, but here I am reading a whole bunch of shifter romances like it's my job. Okay, but anyways, it was so good. So good. So in A Ruin of Roses, our main character is Finley. She is part of, I think, one of the poorest villages within this kingdom, and she is very good with making potions and healing. She's an excellent healer. And so there is this curse that the Demon King had put on this kingdom, and what happens is that the people who live in the castle grounds, they are basically stuck in time. They're not aging. They are not being able to shift into their dragons. None of the people can shift into, well, not dragons. I guess it's any kind of shift, like any kind of animal. No one in the villages can shift into their animals. So they don't even know what their animals are. And the people in the villages, they are aging and they are sick. They have come down with this sickness because of this curse. So Finley has developed a treatment for the curse. And it's not a cure yet, but she's trying to get there. But it helps with the side effects. She goes into I think it's like the Forbidden Wood or the Forbidden Forest or something. And she needs to start collecting some more of this herb, which I can't remember what the name of the herb is. But she needs to collect it, and the only place that it is, that she has found, is in this forest. And she has found out the perfect times to start collecting it because it's a very mercurial plant. And while she's out there, she gets pretty much kidnapped by this beast because she took some of his plant, basically. It's out there, but I mean, that's basically the Beauty and the Beast retelling. So she is taken to the castle grounds because she then finds out that the beast is their long lost prince, and his name is Nifane, and he is wonderful. He is an anti-hero. He is sexy and demanding, and he is just, he's confusing. He reminds me of the Katy Perry song Hot and Cold, but I love him so much. So this book was so much fun. It made me laugh at a time that I didn't think I could laugh. It made me enjoy being around, like, it made me feel so good at a time that I felt so crappy. And there's this one character, oh my gosh, what is his name? Hadriel. This one character, Hadriel, he is the funniest man on the fucking planet, okay? He is hilarious. Like, he is one of the best side characters I've ever read. He's just so funny. And if I could have a book of just Hadriel, I would read it. I would so read it. So that is my top read of January. The sequel did not live all the way up to my expectations on how I felt with the first book, but I did still really love it, and I cannot wait for book 3. I think book 3 is going to be the best out of the whole trilogy, and that is coming out soon, so I'm super excited. But that is my reading wrap up for the month of January. I'm happy to be back. It feels good to be making videos again. So, with that being said, let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these books, if you agree with me or if you disagree with me, and give me some recommendations down below. I am all for all of the romances. But yeah, so if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It does help support my channel. And if you're not a subscriber and you would like to subscribe, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. Yeah, until next time, happy reading.